Okay, I think we're good. Sorry about that. I always forget that button always goes off on its own. Again, welcome everyone. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Today we do have special guest Yan here, CTO of PAC Global Holdings LLC, to be able to directly answer any questions you may have for him specifically. So again, I want to give him a warm welcome. Appreciate him taking the time out of his day to be here, and as well for you guys. Any of the questions that you guys have, be sure if you want them directed at Yan, just to mention that in the comment, because I will be rereading them off for him and for everyone else, and for the transcripts later, so that people know what the questions are. I need to get better at that. Make sure to remember to read those questions. So I'll wait for a couple of people to jump in here, any topics that may want to be brought up. But we do have a couple things that Yan has that he may want to discuss here directly with you guys via the chat. Of course, I will read them off to everyone, but just to give you guys a little preview of what we have planned for today. I could give another shout out to Kuhn. He gave me this shirt too. I don't know if you can tell the color. It's red. Got the logo right here. So I got about 4 polos. This is probably my favorite one as far as the color contrast and all that. I think it looks good with the green. He does a good job designing these, I think. We do have our first question. Is the yanNETWORK I cannot pronounce it. Synonymous? I think it's synonymous. A synonymous of the IPFS distributed system. Basically, the yanNETWORK is the name that we gave our version of IPFS. IPFS is open source software, but you can fine tune it in your own direction, change the code to fit your kind of use case that you're trying to present and use it for. For example, and this wouldn't be necessarily changing source code, but adding things to a platform using IPFS. For instance, yanDNA, the encryption part of a file is not done on the IPFS side. That's done prior, and then it's uploaded. So, IPFS doesn't have encryption standards based in it, like that kind of encryption. So our name for our version of how we built IPFS is yanNETWORK. The distributed system, the difference between distributed and decentralized, my opinion on the definition, the yanDNA beta right now at current standpoint is running on a distributed system. Clusters of nodes, thousands of them, supported by the LLC, or should I say individual owners that are part of the LLC donating their server resources to support the distributed setting of IPFS. When you introduce the decentralized aspect of it, that's where it's no longer a distributed of still thousands and providing that infrastructure, but then you have the decentralized layer that you can add to it, to where you, the people, or anyone can add resources to the network and grow it. So our name for our version of IPFS is yanNETWORK. Hello, Sharp. Thank you for stopping by. Yan had a comment here that he posted, so I'm going to read it to you guys. A couple comments. He said, so for the token system, once it's polished enough, we want users to test our token system in PAC Protocol blockchain per testnet. We're hoping to do this within 2 weeks. So I'm going to pause there because this is something that we were discussing earlier. We were, trying to figure out the best way to incorporate, different members within the PAC Protocol networks community to participate in the testnet of the token layer once it's polished enough for us to present it into a public testnet setting. So we've just been discussing different ways of how we can introduce some community members to be part of that, whether or not there's specific things that need to be covered, like NDAs or not. Like we're trying to figure that out, but that's what we want to do within the next 2 weeks as well, so that you guys can at least see the token system, play around with it, or those that are interested. It probably won't be for like open to everyone. We'll do slots, but that way people in the community can be present and participating in what's happening in our upcoming update. Maybe report bugs that you find in your own that we've missed, over the course of the couple weeks that we've been in testnet, finding different bugs and resolving them. More eyes always brings more solutions. That's kind of our motto here, as far as testing for products before they're released. That's why we stay in beta or testnet for some time before we feel it's decent enough to go mainnet. yanDNA is one example of that beta, and then Yan has his second part of that comment. So his comment reads, testnet equals PAC protocol runs under different networks, blockchain, for debugging, developers, testing. So if you think about it, to simplify that, it would be, all the how the main net would be operating if once the network was pushed and major consensus is reached on the main net. Testnet provides us that blockchain using that code for anyone that's part of that test group to participate in the token system and any of the other features that are part of the update so that you can participate in possibly resolving bugs. Yeah, and just to further on that, any PAC that is like being transacted on testnet, that's not real PAC. It's not PAC that's actually transacting on the main net. It's basically a supply that is provided at the beginning of the test net and then sent out to the different individuals that want to participate. And with that collateral of PAC, you'll be able to make different tokens, participate in transacting them, NFTs, etc. And then you'll be able to report bugs if you find them. So within the next 2 weeks, it's something that we're planning to bring to the table for everyone to participate in. Paul, thank you for stopping by again. Hi, Drew. Is there going to be a new roadmap for coming year on the new website? We're in the last year of the current roadmap. So my best answer to that is we do have a new website being designed right now. We're in, I believe, phase 3 and 4 of a 5-phase production for it to be completed. At least that's if I remember that correctly. Don't quote me on that. But it's being in the works. And yes, that is a good point as far as roadmap and where we're at. A lot of the products that we have, touted in our current roadmap are still maybe not at the achievement level that we want them to be yet. For instance, yanDNA in beta, but there's also been other things that have come along the way as far as like the NFT support to PAC protocol, the token layer implementation. Just for us to provide that onto the mainnet has had its own roadblocks, delays, etc. Just experimenting with innovative technology. So over this year, I plan on making sure that obviously all those products are released to our standards. But there's a lot of, things that we're not just sitting on our hands waiting for those things to happen. There's a lot of business to business incorporations that we could use, PAC protocol with, providing services as far as, whatever it is. So there will be, new things mentioned in the roadmap, in a new roadmap, or I guess an updated roadmap to, advance your progress and start on something new. So when that happens, we'll obviously announce that in an official status way. But as of right now, we're obviously working on getting that new website up with all the information for this upcoming, update. Not only this update, but yanDNA product, different updates to PACapp that Yan has planned, and yanSafe. So there's definitely going to be a lot of different things that could already be mentioned as a roadmap status, such as like the different things we discussed last seminar with Yan available about the different ideas that we already have for yanSafe and PACapp, such as multi-currency support. We'll just stop there for that, or like yanSafe and like deploying other nodes or validators for other chains and making it easy to do. Those are things that aren't mentioned in our current roadmap, and not to the detail that we've kind of come up with our own solutions now. So there's going to be a lot of different things that we can start presenting and people can be excited to look forward to. But I do, like using these AMA seminars and our open, community forums to keep everyone up to date as things change. That way, in my opinion, you look at like someone giving a goal and it's like 4 months out, people are still going to want updates on whether or not it's going to happen. So instead of putting a hard deadline, maybe just keeping everyone involved throughout the entire process would be better, especially from a standpoint of like trying to communicate with a lot of people at the same time. It does get difficult every once in a while, for me at least. Yeah, Yan, he's not going to have a mic on these seminars. That's why he's available in these chats, but I will be sure to read off what he responds so that everyone can at least hear it. And if you don't have audio on, all his replies are in the chat. So yeah, thank you, MTC. I think it is a good idea. Yan actually presented it to us to do like a semi-public testnet or overall just complete open testnet. We just had to have those discussions of like how we're going to do that in a safe environment for us, as a company, and then also for those that want to be involved, so that they feel that their ideas and suggestions and feedbacks is actually being heard. Oh yes, thank you, Yan. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So his next comment was another update that we wanted to talk about today. was the Masternode problem, or the to elaborate on the Masternode problem, the ghost node configurations, or where masternodes aren't properly being penalized for maybe their server not being connected for the time allotted that it should, the POS band score. So we have, or quote unquote, we may have found a potential solution to this issue. It looks very promising. The thing to keep in mind why we say may or potential is because our sheer volume, or not volume, just size of our network, it's very hard to have a solution present itself without having to create it yourself, because there's not really another network that we can go copy off of, because it's a very innovative network that we're all part of here. So, and by copy, I mean use open source code to figure out a solution and then alter it to your network. It doesn't really exist for our type of network. So it does look extremely promising. It would address the quorum issues, the LOM queues, the POS band scores, so that your node is healthy and you know that it's healthy. And if it needs maintenance, then you're properly being reported by the network to do the maintenance. One question in the chat from Golden Stool. Thank you for being here. Why is my Masternode experiencing bandwidth overage? Ian replied to that. I didn't see that. Thank you. He said, we can help you better if you create a new ticket in Discord. So that is a proper way that our ticketing system has been working on Discord. A lot of people come in with different issues. If you do that, we'll be able to like individually help with any problems. So that seems to be responded to well. We do get a lot of good feedback from the community of our support system and I guess response times. So it should be something that isn't too hard of an issue to resolve, because it's come up quite a bit. I do not know how to read that language, so I can't pronounce your name. I apologize. Your question, hello, what is known about FlareFinance, FlareNetwork, any dates on approximate dates? So as far as Flare goes, their latest announcements about their update to Songbird going mainnet and launch, saying towards the end of March. So obviously, you know, we have to wait until they go live with their network and their validators, so that we can participate with that kind of situation. We just have to wait for that. So we're not always in control of every, you know, partnership or development that we want to be a part of. We play our part and, you know, provide the value that is needed for that partnership to have value for not only, you know, the other partner involved, but you guys involved in the community. So we have to wait for them, and that's fine. You know, we have our own things to be working on. As far as wrapped PAC, I missed that. Sorry. See that at the end there. Wrapped PAC is going to be very, you know, not time sensitive, but time synchronized, I should say, with our upcoming update, because we want to have that wrap bridge, you know, properly tied to the updated version of this network before that goes live, just to avoid any potential issues. I think that's more of a wise approach. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Oh, will we be able to, in the future, to deploy our nodes to other networks? If I understand your question correctly, I think what you're asking is if a PAC Masternode is going to be able to provide verification or full reporting for another chain. That's entirely possible, but that is not directly the way that we're, you know, trying to showcase the availability of PAC Masternodes being able to expand other networks. What we're trying to show there is that this network is not only a proof of concept, but it's a proof of existence. There's over 22,000 nodes that are active, are real, are being actively maintained, etc. Especially after this update that comes out to make sure that the POS band score is working properly for this size of a network, then it definitely would be true that each one of those nodes is 100% being maintained properly. With that being said, with different products that have been brought to the table already for those in the PAC community, they're able to deploy these master nodes very easily without really any knowledge about how blockchain works. It's a super easy UI to interact with. If that is presented to other networks and showcasing, look how large this network has grown. Look how many of these individuals are capable of running a full node because A, the product's easy, and B, that they want to. Now, let's incorporate a way that we can reward them, quote unquote, for them doing the same thing for you. There's many ways that can be reached and achieved, and that's the goal. is to make other chains easy to deploy in our products. Hint, hint, and safe. It's already, kind of in the plans. We've talked about that for making it easy to deploy different validators or full nodes. Obviously, you have to provide the resources to it. And, the best way to do that is if you already have a master node pulling resources from a third-party provider or yourself, if you want to support another chain, you have to also decide to supply more resources. That's just common sense. The more data being stored, you're going to have a bigger server. So everything is choice based in that, but it's more or less showing that it's possible and it should be advocated for these chains to expand their decentralization, so that it becomes a stronger network, so to speak. 100% build on PAC protocol. Does it mean at some point you plan to add smart contracts? Absolutely. That's 100% included in this upcoming update. Token layer implementation, the ability to mint NFTs, and then the option to store them over on decentralized storage, IPFS. That's all part of this update that's coming up. So there will be a time and place on this network where other projects will be able to deploy their own token, their own supply, and then, hence your project's born if it's successful. Caleb, we are not openly hiring, but openly available for interviews, just to see if the work experience fits with our team, and then also if it's the right time for whatever product or code updates that we're working on. As far as long-term positions, we do have that filled, but there are different things that come up that we will need to have them filled. So meaning like multiple positions of the same. And we're always open to having those discussions with those that are interested. And Yan and myself have actually both been involved in a couple interviews via Discord. I've got a couple emails that we've responded to. We've actually, found some individuals that have expanded our teams throughout people reaching out through our different socials. So I do welcome it, and so does Yan, for any individual that has talent to reach out, and we can have a discussion and review and see if it's a perfect fit. Are these third-party nodes, full nodes, going to be deployed on the same machine as the PAC protocol node? I mean, it wouldn't necessarily have to. The main point I was trying to make is if it's made easy, it's not made easy. Like, it's not made easy for any of these networks, to my knowledge. It's not really ever really touted to expand their different blockchains unless it's, a rewarding aspect of it. My best example of that is like Bitcoin and XRP. One's full node, one's considered a validator. Both of them do not reward you for doing so. So if that's already the case, why would anyone want to run a full node for something that doesn't reward you? It's obviously happening. There are people doing it, and it's because they want to. There's people that want to have a full node of Bitcoin. It's just the matter. It's not always about being rewarded, but it's not always easy to do. There could be a lot more people out there that want to do that for Bitcoin, Ethereum, even XRP, except you name it. It doesn't matter. All of them. If you provide them a service, a product that is available for them to download for absolutely free, and they can now deploy nodes for these other chains using a product called yanSafe, I find great value to that. And I also find the name PAC Protocol, slapped all over it, to where people will be paying attention to who developed this project. Why did they? Oh, because they have a Masternode network that has grown this size, and this probably had a huge impact on why it grow that large. And I 100% agree with that. Yan's involvement and his creation with yanSafe has absolutely had a huge impact on how many people are able to throw up a full node or a master node using that product. It's super easy. So if we're able to do that to where other projects are able to do it, yeah, they could obviously attach it to the server that they already have, given if they upgrade the resources that they're paying for. And there could be other advantages to it later down the line with the token layer that we're implementing, to where these different projects that we include in our product, maybe there's a token that is associated to that in the future, to where it's, it makes sense for someone to decide to do that if they only are caring about rewards. But in the examples of Bitcoin, XRP, others like that it's not rewarding to have a full node, you can see that there's still thousands of people doing it. And how many more would if it was easy? Lawrence G, the question, after the update and after people can create tokens on PAC, will there be a native decentralized exchange on PAC Protocols chain where we can provide, so you mean similar to like Uniswap, but like associated with PAC Protocols chain? That'd be really cool. That could be something that we could research. We have discussed about that, making maybe a feature included in yanSafe or other products to where if you have any of the tokens associated on PAC Protocols network, you can, swap it with someone else who's trying to do the same thing, so that it's really just a transfer instead of it being a listing. But there's a lot of ideas. We just haven't gotten to that far, to be honest. Oh, well, the question is I think a pretty easy answer. If you're having multiple nodes running on the same server and that server goes down, every chain that's connected to that server is obviously going to go down. Like it wouldn't be isolated. Everything that's connected to it obviously wouldn't be connected anymore. I think that's a pretty easy answer to explain. So, that's why POS band score system, making sure it's proper, making sure the server is actually connected, actually providing the resources you're telling the chains that you're doing to receive something in return, I'm assuming, is being done properly. That's a question for you, Yan. I know we talked about this, plugins, different ideas, so maybe you can tackle that one. This one's from Toby Wan. With yanDNA, is it possible to set it up like a drive in your PC, just like OneDrive? We did talk about this last seminar, OneDrive and Dropbox, how they have those automated, when you want to save a file and you have Dropbox downloaded, like it's in the settings, do you want it to automatically save a copy to Dropbox, or do you want it to only save it to Dropbox, or do you want it to only save it to your local drive? I think that would be an awesome idea for yanDNA to be, capable of doing that. If the server that you're connected to is no longer connected, you have no connection, regardless of what settings that you're putting to mitigate an issue. If it's not connected, it's just not connected. If you're asking if PAC protocol node goes down, like meaning its connection to the PAC protocol chain, not the server, of course the other chain's not going to be impacted because it still is properly connected. That would be a chain issue that would need to be resolved, or a resyncing or something like that, a reindexing. I'm talking specifically if the entire server gets shut down or there's a maintenance on the server. It doesn't matter what kind of fail safes you have. If the server's off, it's off. Like that's just plain and simple. If you're asking if PAC protocol Masternode goes down, is it going to turn down all the other ones? We're not there yet, and we're not actually doing it where there's, but no, it wouldn't, in my opinion, affect any other chain because that would be a chain issue, not a server issue. In fact, actually, one of the full validators that we're hosting, I won't say the name of the chain because I'm not talking negatively about it, but something happened on the chain where we had to resync. It didn't affect the PAC protocol Masternode that was also attached to the server because it wasn't the same chain. No, I think I just said exactly what you said. I said both of them. If PAC protocol network has an issue, that would be a chain issue. That wouldn't be a server issue. So the other chains wouldn't be affected, in my opinion. We aren't there yet to be testing it across multiple chains, so I don't have a definitive answer for you. But I was just telling you that if the server goes completely down, then yes, every chain connected to that server is not going to be connected. If only one chain connected to that server gets disconnected because of a chain issue, not a server issue, or maybe its own chain's, reporting, meaning like the POS band score, if PAC is failing on, or any of those chains is failing one of their own reporting systems for whatever reason, it wouldn't affect the other chains. It would affect that chain, and they would need to be addressed. So that's as far as I can really go on that, because now we're being theoretical. And I don't think I've ever seen a fault really in any network. I don't have full study in a lot of like all the different networks, connection issues, blah, blah, blah. But as far as PAC protocol goes, I don't think I've ever seen a fault in PAC protocol causing a machine to shut down or a server to shut down. I've seen an issue occur to where it doesn't connect to the server, but not the server being shut down. You just need to be more specific because your questions are turning into an agenda. So if you want to just ask like directly, you're asking about something that's not deployed yet and something that we're excited to be launching. So I don't have all the answers to something that doesn't exist. You need to accept that. So if you want to be more specific in your question, I again just told you, if a server shuts down completely, it's not connected. If you have multiple different chains running on the same server, that's called most shared Masternode platforms do that. That's how, I mean, just to be transparent, I ran a shared Masternode, project platform business, but I didn't do what a lot of different people do, where they attach multiple different projects on one server. I find that completely like unethical, because that means they're just completely overcharging people because they're making way more money than the actual server needs, because most of the projects being tapped into the same server had very minimal requirements. So in the event that you're adding a chain that is a large chain and has a lot of data connected to it, as the example of Bitcoin and XRP as I gave, you obviously have to increase your resources. It's mandatory. You're not going to be able to do it on the server that's connected, that you're using just for PAC. So in the event you have a server capable of supplying all the resources you need to have a Bitcoin full node, an XRP full node, and a PAC master node, if PAC has a problem and you are no longer connected to the PAC network, it would not, in my opinion, affect the other networks. I nowhere said there is no chance whatsoever. I said, in my opinion, it would not affect it, but I'm not looking at it. And I said, that's as far as I can go, because now we're being theoretical. So, yeah, and if yes, you would like to, um, you know, if there's a solution to that problem, because that's a new problem to me. I don't think I've ever seen an issue where a PAC protocol masternode is making fault and causing issues to a server, and then in the event causing it to shut down. I haven't seen that. I also haven't seen in the event of a PAC protocol masternode causing problems and then affecting other chains to no longer be able to connect, unless it's absorbing too much of the resources because it's a memory leak. That's the only instance, or other instances like that, but that is a chain issue. That's not an issue of, oh, it's automatically going to, it's not the other chain's fault to why they can't connect. It's a chain issue. There's two different things. Yep. Resource exhaustion, memory leak, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely. I mean, that goes for not just PAC protocol, it goes for any network connected to a server. That's why proper maintenance is involved. Again, I will reiterate once more, all the products that we are working on, that we're happy to express updates, the different, detailed features that we're able to add to it and test and have available to make sure we're going to reach our standards before we bring it to you guys. You know, I've said it many times, when those products or updates are ready to go, we will have technical documentation released so that people will be able to read what we have released in that information packet. We're not, and I will not be talking about all that information on these live settings, because it's too much for me to even A, remember offhand, and then B, it's just too much to like promise something that isn't, there could be a bug to where a certain feature is no longer like on the list of priority, because maybe it's so much so of a bug that it's going to slow down the entire production. Or it was an additional feature that we wanted to add that we never talked about. And then we talk about it. And then it's like, oh man, like the Ledger incident where we were working on Ledger, thought it was ready, and then it was bugged at the very, like right before release, found a critical bug, and still, kind of just got pushed into, well, we need to stick with the things that we were prioritizing and that we were promising, and that will come along with the different updates, because we've been having updates. So Yan, do you want to tackle that one, because it's for PACapp? The question, multi-currency and PACapp would mean it would be kind of like Trust Wallet. So I'd let you, if you feel comfortable, talking about multi-currency support on that at this point, and how you have been planning the architecture for that. And also, if you want to, because I know it's probably related, I know you mentioned about rebuilding Electrum, just for different specific reasons. If you want to go into that too, maybe we can today. And if not, no big deal. Just type in the chat. Okay, Yan's first reply. He says, I don't know how Trust Wallet works, but multiple digital assets means we're going to support Bitcoin, Ethereum, PAC, etc., as well in the future PACapp. But it's still well, it's too early to discuss everything further. So just know that our initial plans of like how this is going to work is there will be those, the popular digital assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., that would be included in this, all of them at the same time. I don't know. We don't know yet. It's too soon for that. But also discussing, having the PAC tag associated with these chains as well, so that you don't have to, I mean, obviously that would make sense. The PACapp, you have the PAC tag system. So instead of using addresses, you can use your PAC tag for these other chains as well. And, kind of a pretty cool way, if you think about it, to offer to different users, not just those that are PAC related or PAC centric, so that they can, try the products that we have built. They're still free to use, free to download. Yeah, so really exciting for that to be ready. Okay, we are at the 40-minute mark. Gan, if you had any last comments that you wanted to mention on current testnet, just the current developments that have happened over the past couple of days, if you wanted to comment on them at all, that's fine. If not, we can always do this again, and we can go further into that. I will paste this in the chat because Yan has created this out of recommendation from the community to have, I don't know if it'll be daily, just you gotta bear in mind our bandwidth, but our daily bandwidth, but he's created this Twitter page, freshly made. So people can go follow that, and we'll be posting our development updates there, just so that it's fresh and it's easy for us to be on the same page of everything. So that's exciting. So go over there, check that out. I know there's nothing posted there yet. I don't think he posted anything since the last time, but just be aware that we have this one and people can go follow that. And Yan is personally running this account. Okay, I think that about covers it then. We will schedule another time where both me and Yan can coordinate together. Last couple times, 3 o'clock Eastern time seems to have been working. But I do want to eventually have a stream in the morning, my morning, so that those in the time frame across the world will have an opportunity to hang out with us here and ask their own questions, because I know not everyone can make everything, but that's why they're recorded. And that's why we try and do these as regular as possible to give everyone the opportunity. Yan's last comment. We're hoping to release a small teaser to token/NFT system in Yan Safe as a screenshot. No idea when yet, but soon enough, hopefully. So he says no idea when yet, but I do know the screenshot that he's talking about. So we're just deciding on the right time to show that. But yeah, it's cool just to see how it's looking in the test mode, seeing all the different tokens being created, the NFT system, how it works, how it's looking in the UI form for yanDNA. So Yan Safe, excuse me. So I'm excited, and probably on that Twitter is where you guys will see that screenshot. So pay attention, and we will get back to you on another day. Thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it, and enjoy your day.